Hello and welcome to the Purple Elephant Podcast. I am Janora Ledbetter, the CEO and founder of the Self Care Network LLC. Today on this podcast, honestly, I do not have an outline for today. I don't have any bullet points. I don't have any neat takeaways. I just have truth. Because this year right here has turned me every which way but loose. I gotta say that again. This year has turned me every which way but loose. And I say that I say that a few times. I'm half laughing when I say it, but deep down it is not funny. It is bone deep real because this year didn't just stretch me, it stripped me. And it set me down in ways I never expected, and honestly, in ways that I didn't even think I could survive. And it wasn't about work. It wasn't burnout from clients or projects or speaking engagements. It was burnout from myself, from the parts of me that still needed control and validation and still wanted to rewrite old pain with new people. So let me tell you something. It is one thing to be tired of your job, but it's another level of tired when you're tired of yourself, when you're tired of your own patterns and tired of reacting the same way and tired of loving people from your wounds and calling it connection. That's the kind of tired that I met this year. And this year broke me open in love and in friendship and in truth. It exposed a part of me that wanted to be chosen so badly that I forgot I was already chosen by myself and by God and by purpose of the work that I do because I absolutely love the work that I do. And I've had forgotten that. And it showed me how sometimes situations can trigger the very pain that we thought we have healed. And how when we don't sit with these wounds, we end up reliving them, just with new faces and deeper consequences. And so the universe was like, you've got to sit down, girl. Please sit down. You're doing too much. And I really want it makes me think about this year collectively and where we've all been because I've had conversations with a lot of you. I've had a lot of conversations with clients, friends, family. And this year has been hard. This year has been hard. So let's take it back to the 2025 election. This election was a monumental election. It really was. And we were all coming off of this collective high of being in the Biden administration for 4 years. And so during the Biden administration, we had a president who was compassionate and kind. So many grants were giving to so many organizations to do important work, racial equity, inclusion, belonging, really focusing on toxic workplaces and really saying, hey, it is important for you to create safe spaces within these organizations. And we as a government recognize that. And we want people to come to work and we want them to be healthy and we want them to be happy. So we are going to give you money to create this. And I feel like we were all just collectively living in a really great time at that time. And then we had this election where Trump decided to run again. And the minute that this man announced that he wanted to run again, I think collectively we all were had post traumatic stress disorder from 2020 when he was in office. The pandemic was awful. The pandemic was such a dark time. It was disconnection. We were disconnected from family. We were disconnected from friends. We were wrapped. We were, well, literally locked in our own boxes in our homes, separated from the things that give our minds peace, right? To tell people, I'm sorry, you can't leave your home. So now you can't go into work and interact with coworkers. You can't see your family. You can't go out to restaurants. It created this environment that was scarce and scary for a lot of people, especially all the deaths that happened. Right? That was a real thing. I mean, hospitals did not have enough ventilators. Nobody knew how to handle this. And we had someone in office that just really didn't show that they cared. And you had people dying in waiting rooms because there wasn't enough room for them to have enough beds or enough ventilators to help people. And it was like this darkness and this sickness that just worked its way through. Many of us got through it, many of us did not. I personally know people who were affected and lost people due to COVID, and their lives have never been the same. And so this election peeled back the layers and it showed us this darkness that we've been tolerating, this rage, the fear, the division. And I know many people said that at 3 o'clock in the morning, the day of the election, when Trump was announced the winner, people told me they just cried, literally just cried and felt this sense of uneasiness and sadness. And we've been living now in a time, especially for nonprofits, that have been so hard. This administration has really excuse me, this administration has really hurt nonprofits, has taken away funding, has made it so that nonprofits have to fire employees because they can't sustain. The job market is the worst job market we've seen in a while. There are more people looking for jobs now than there are enough jobs available. And we're looking at how there are things being weaponized to pull us apart, power being used to silence, to shame, to dehumanize. We hear narratives that call people others and threats of violence. And this rhetoric is just so loud. It's like this violence that's happening right now, this violence that's just in the air. And I feel like, that it contributes to this air growing thick with distrust. And so, amid this darkness, many of us right now are forced to ask questions. Who or what have I allowed myself to become in this chaos? And that's what I've been asking myself, because this election exposed a shadow in our country, but it also exposed within myself. It exposes shadows within leadership. And it's really important to understand what it means to heal, because I used to think healing meant returning to who I was before everything broke. But I'm starting to realize that healing means loving who I've become because of it. Because I'm learning that the goal isn't to stay untouched by pain, it's to stay open through it, to let it soften you instead of harden you, to let it teach you what peace actually feels like. Because peace isn't this loud roar. Peace isn't always in your face. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Sometimes peace is just a whisper of, you don't have to fight this fight anymore. You don't have to be in control all the time. And it's wild how lessons can come through heartbreak. It's wild how lessons can also come through hard lessons. And sometimes you don't grow in light, you grow in the fallout. When words are cutting deep, when people walk away, you have to choose peace. And that's where I've been. Not standing on stages, but trying to sit in the stillness and in the darkness, not necessarily fixing others, but tending to the wreckage inside of me so that I can continue to do the work that is so important to fix the wreckage inside of others. So, yeah, this year has turned me every which of way but loose, but it also has freed me, because sitting down and not moving about so much, like just sitting down and not having to have an answer for everything and be all over the place, it's showing me what I was still holding that wasn't mine to carry anymore. It made me stop rehearsing who I was supposed to be and to start remembering who I actually am. And healing is not always pretty. Sometimes it can look like crying on your living room floor at midnight, whispering to God, I don't know how to get through this. And sometimes it looks like saying nothing at all, just breathing through the ache and breathing through the pain. And other times it looks like getting up the next morning anyway, not because it doesn't hurt, but because you've got to refuse to let pain define the whole story. And I know that some of you listening right now are in your own sit down season. And maybe yours isn't about work either. Maybe it's about love or family or the version of yourself that you thought you had outgrown. And maybe you're tired of being the strong one. And maybe you've been the one always fixing, always explaining, always holding things together for people who never asked how you're holding up. And maybe, just maybe, this is your year to stop proving, to stop chasing, to stop performing wholeness when what you really need is just rest. I'm learning that the goal isn't to stay untouched by pain, but it's for us to stay open through it, to let it teach you what peace actually feels like. And here's where this connects back to work. Because when I sit down, I realize how much of what we carry personally spills into how we lead and how we manage and how we show up at work. Leaders bring their unhealed parts into meetings. Employees bring their unseen pain into their performance. And we all just pretend it's just business when really it's humanity in disguise. And when a leader refuses to sit down and do their own inner work, they recreate their chaos in every room that they enter. And when employees are forced to smile through pain or silence for their truth for a paycheck, that's not culture, that is survival. So this personal sit down, it's not separate from my professional work. It is the work because emotional honesty at home becomes emotional intelligence at work. Accountability and love becomes accountability and leadership. And the courage to face yourself becomes the capacity to lead others with compassion.